Hey folks, this is Rhykker with another Wolcen video. Now, not too long ago, I posted a video on an upcoming action RPG called Wolcen. And in it we spoke about it, but we didn't show a lot of actual gameplay footage, so that's what I wanted to show here in this video. So this video is going to be a little bit different from my typical videos, which are generally very edited. This is going to be me talking as we're going through a playthrough. Right there, I'm picking a fireball spell, scroll, skill, basically. This is going to be my main skill as we progress here. But to continue introducing what's going on here, I've recorded some gameplay footage rather than talk at the same time as the footage I'm now talking ex post facto. So during this playthrough, this isn't the first time I've played Wolcen, so I'm not going to be stopping to smell the roses. I'm going to be going at a somewhat more accelerated pace. I kind of also want to give you guys a chance to see as much as we can. We're going to get through a few quests throughout this playthrough here. And again, if you want to see the specifics on skills and stuff, you can always pause the video whenever I mouse over things. I'm making pretty quick decisions with a little exception. I've made a fire mage before. I'm whiffing a lot. I'm missing a lot of fireballs here. Little known fact about me, I'm left-handed, but I play games with my right hand, so my aim is not as good as it could be. And yes, I know there are left-handed mice, but in my house and in my school, as I was learning to use a computer growing up, it was all right-handed mice, so I've tried using a left-handed mouse. It's just too confusing now to try to switch. But, so, the first time I played Wolcen, I was playing a melee character. And it was a challenging game. Maybe it was also because it was my first time playing, but at some point I migrated to trying. That was quite a whiff. I love the fireball effect though. Anyway, when I started playing a spellcaster, I discovered, oh, well, okay, Mage is easy mode. So this right here, this is arguably the first boss fight. This was a huge challenge with a melee character. Well, that's an exaggeration. It was a challenge with a melee character. I had some scary moments. The boss is gonna come out soon here. On a spellcaster it was a lot easier, and now on my, I guess, third run, I think this is my third playthrough. So it's my second time with a spellcaster. Things are gonna seem easier than they actually are. Just bear in mind that I'm a little bit experienced with this game at this point. Right now I'm trying to kite enemies together to try to benefit from the area of effect damage of my fireball. As you can see, I'm starting off with a shield and a melee weapon. One thing that I don't really like is that the game doesn't pause during these cutscenes, so you can still take damage while you're running around. But very cool boss fight. There's the water there. If I had a lightning spell, I could zap the people standing in the lightning. Again, this game has environmental effects. I've learned to keep my distance from this guy. You stay close to this guy, this is a very different fight. I've learned to keep my distance here. He is one tough mofo. As melee, that's a very challenging encounter. And again, even my first time as a spellcaster, it was a little tough. I had to run around quite a bit more here. We're gonna skip through most story-based things to kind of leave the story as a surprise for you folks. As you can see, kind of a standard waypoint system. Waypoint, similar to Diablo, similar to any action RPG at this point. So we're progressing to the town now. Again, this is on the Crytek engine. This game looks very nice. You're seeing up there not enough stamina. At the bottom, on my hotbar, toward the right, you can see 4 small green orbs, or they're empty. If I have full stamina, it's represented by 4 orbs. The stamina is what allows you to do those combat rolls. I love this system, I love the mobility. This is a possibly, if we're talking about an action RPG, this is probably the most beautiful town I've seen. And the graphics aren't even really pushing my system. So going in this town here, you can see I was just aligning my camera so that north points up. I find that just makes the most sense to me, but you're free to rotate the camera around however you want, whenever you want. We're gonna go pick up a quest here from Father Gurnas. Again, just gonna skip through stuff. Quest reward, XP, and gold. Level 2, here we go, the wheel. We're gonna spec right away into Arcanist. That is your mage class. And you get 3 skill points every time you level up along this Gate of Fates there. Again, if you want to see exactly what those are, feel free to pause the video. And now I'm just going to stat dump into willpower. I'm going full glass cannon. I like to build glass cannons. So, full on willpower, that's your spellcaster damage stat right there. We're going to talk to the merchant. We're going to finally get some clothes, not be so naked anymore. You get all 3 of those. You look pretty frumpy equipped in these, I gotta say. It's not a good look. It's not a good look, but we're going to go back, turn in that, or get the next reward. The next quest, rather. Brother Leon. And now we're going to be going off to get the next quest. Just jumped ahead a little bit. I went to scout out the town a little. But now we're going to run off to the quest. We can't quite use the waypoints yet. We've got to first go and explore. It's a little jaunt out of town. But again, you'll notice I'm still wielding a shield and a melee weapon. That's not ideal for a spellcaster, obviously. But eventually I'm going to get a staff. The staves are really cool. We're going to get to look at them in a little bit. In my experience, I don't use the staff's base attack a whole lot. I'm mostly casting my fireballs, but if I ever run out of the mana resource, the Umbra, that's when I'll be just default attacking. The other benefit of having a staff is that it tends to increase your elemental damage. As an elementalist, that's quite important. Now we're going to collect our first waypoint over here. In one of my playthroughs, I forgot to get it. I just ran right past it. Well, I didn't see it. I was just going straight north. I didn't even see it on the map at all. So I'm just going to be going straight towards the quest objective. Every now and then tossing a fireball out. Add a zombie. Trying to collect a little bit of XP along the way. Again, the visuals. Just the effect of the fireball. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. That was a horrible whiff right there. Horrible whiff. Checking the map just to make sure that I'm taking the right path. That's one issue with the game right now. In some areas, the mini-map is not properly aligned in that you're going to see a path, but you're not actually on the path. Or rather, by the mini-map, it seems like you're not on the path. That's not an issue right here, but as we're going to get to some spider caves in a bit, you're going to see that present itself as an issue. Entering a graveyard here. Again, we've pretty much have standard action RPG fare. You start off with zombies. It's very Diablo 2, right? Diablo 2, what do? You leave town, the first thing you see zombies. Zombies and quill rats, of course, but that's one thing that I really liked about Diablo 2 versus a classic RPG like Baldur's Gate. This is not to knock Baldur's Gate, but like one of the first things you fight in standard RPGs tends to be like rats and other crappy enemies. In Diablo 2, right away you're fighting zombies. So similarly in this. So we're going down here. I think we were supposed to save this fellow or something. The aesthetic here, though. The aesthetic. You got the candles, you got the blood. It's dark, it's grim, it's gritty. I love this. This area feels very Diablo. And we're going to be fighting, I guess you can call him a boss, a little mini-boss thing. That's one thing about the bosses in this game, if you can call them bosses, or... the boss fights tend to be challenging. Again, the greatest challenge is with a melee character. If you can learn a boss's attack patterns, that's generally the key to defeating a boss. Alternatively, with a spellcaster, just keep your distance. Or any kind of range character, I guess. I haven't tried, but you have guns in this game. I don't know if you noticed right there, but I was melee attacking. Basically, every time you cast a spell, you are using up Umbra, and you are generating, I think it's called Rage. So that's your melee attack resource, your physical resource, versus your magic resource. So, I was just trying to dump my Rage. When my Umbra was finished, when I was out of mana, I was just dumping my Rage. But once I get a wand, or rather a staff, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm level 3 right now. The problem is when I bring up my skill menu, it doesn't pause the game. Got a thief outfit right there. It's not what I'm looking for, I'm not a thief, but I've got nothing better right now. I'm only comparing stats to ensure that Sometimes you have certain items equipped, rather suited for melee types or non-casters that hamper your Umbra generation. So there are items that come with benefits and drawbacks, back and forth. So sometimes, you gotta make sure you're not as a spellcaster equipping something that's going to be detrimental to you. Now, what I'm trying to do right here is make a beeline as deep as possible into the skill tree. I'm trying to get to the Elementalist, section, which is in the next circle. So I'm just kind of debating, okay, given what the quickest path is, which is, let's say I have a choice between two different spells, which is going to be better. So that's kind of what I'm picking right here. We get the more interesting options as we go deeper down the skill web, and the more powerful options as well, which is why I'm trying to get there as quickly as possible. As we get to this area here, here's a little mini-boss guy, kind of like a Skeleton King, sort of, but not really. No, that's not a good comparison. As you can see, he kind of has that wind-up attack though, right? If you were in melee with him, you would have been pretty wrecked right there. Now, what's interesting is this seems like a boss. This was a tough, challenging fight, and these guys become regular enemies later. I am whiffing unbelievably. This stupid NPC is not helping me. Finally, he does something, but, again, this is a whole different game played melee versus played at range. But again, you just want to kind of learn to telegraph his attacks and avoid them. Now, I was concerned about going a little bit too downward that I would have accidentally exited the level, but as you can see, Tome of Whirlwind. So skill books come as world drops, as well as quest rewards. And that's how you learn your skills, and it's also how you upgrade your skills. Apprentice items, that's your spellcaster stuff. So right away, that was an auto-equip on that hood. I knew for sure that I didn't even have to verify the stats. The only reason I'm going to stick around here is because I want to get that chest. But first I'm going to level up. And I'm going to come to a little realization here, as I'm going to head down, that the Elementalist section is not properly aligned right now. I'm on the Trickster. So I'm scrolling out and I'm realizing, uh-oh, where's the Elementalist? Oh, it's over there. I've got to rearrange the wheel. You can't do that out of town, though. You gotta go in town, and there's gonna be something called a Gate of Fate. Meantime, I'm dumping willpower. The Gate of Fate currently allows you to completely reset your skills, including your stat points. I don't know if it'll be like that in the full game. I don't know if there'll be maybe a cost to reset. I do like the ability of resetting, and I think it's okay if we have to wait to be in town to do it. Also aligning the wheel, because once you've basically picked a wheel path, you're not going to, at least in my experience, you're probably not going to shift it too much. So, if you saw right there, at the bottom of the screen, I clicked on the little itty-bitty tiny town portal icon. And this is so that I can go to the Gate of Fates, and now I'm going to select that wheel and rotate it into place. Now, as you can see right now, there's a lot of that wheel that isn't full, and even within the wheel, the wheels that do exist, these sections that do exist, there are nodes that are just placeholders. But eventually, by the full game, this will be completely filled out. Now, what I'm trying to make my way towards is fire, so I'm becoming a fire mage. So, in this Elementalist skill tree, you can specialize cold, fire, or lightning, or I guess all of them, maybe. But I'm going almost strictly fire here. I still haven't found a wand, so I'm going to basically equip what I can. I'm just comparing gear right here. As you can see, it's so far, it's your standard RPG fare. If you're familiar with Diablo 3, none of this should really come as a surprise to you. However, that 3-socket sword, right? 3-socket sword, I love it. Multiple sockets. Excuse me. Multiple sockets. Very appreciated. And to get it so low level, that's also awesome. Now, this is shared stash. I am trying not to kind of cheat and use the items that I already had. From the merchant here, you can buy jewels directly if you can afford them. In my stash, I've got some gems. But right now, who I'm looking for is actually the person who I can sell skill books to for XP. Right now, I'm just selling off my gear. The gear that I'm not going to use, rather. And so now I'm going around, I'm looking for the merchant who deals in skills, and I believe that's him right up there, the archivist, yeah. So, as a different kind of currency, you can sell skill books, and it's done with right-click. I'm trying to figure that out right now. You can sell skill books, and it's going to give you this sort of blue gem XP. Frantically trying to finally right-click to sell it. So now I've got a bunch, and I'm going to want to be leveling up my fireball. Or maybe I'd want to be ideally saving up my points, but so similar to older style Diablo games or action RPGs, you can level up your skills. Rather than get skill points that you must assign to different skills, you can level up your skills, and it's at level 5, I believe, that I'm going to get the ability to select a skill rune. What I'm doing right there is I'm taking my passive skill that I got for the Arcanist path, and applying that. It's a passive and an active, so there is an active effect, but passively I think it lets you generate more Umbra. On my first playthrough, it took me a long time to realize that I even got that skill. But right now we're looking for Silver Crown the Giant Tree. So we're off to find, what'll become our first big departure from Diablo. We're looking for an elf. An elven woman. So, obviously, Diablo only has humans, well, in that it doesn't have the fantasy races of dwarves and elves. This game world does. But it still very much is dark fantasy, so that's something that I find interesting. It's taking the idea of dark fantasy, which is typically rooted in human races, or in the human race, with monstrous races apart from humans, but it's also introducing other fantasy races while keeping the dark theme. Unless I'm very mistaken, we're gonna find out. Maybe she's not an elf. I could have sworn she had pointy elf ears, but we're about to, plus she's in a tree. Maybe I just put it together. Well, tree, Silver Crown, she looks like an elven ranger. We're gonna find out as we go meet her right now. The alchemist, I guess she's not a ranger. Oh no, she's not an elf. Not an elf at all. Okay, so selective memory. I guess I just figured tree, green, elf. That was a bad assumption on my part. So we collected a quest, a 3-part quest. You can see there are 3 different places to go. It doesn't matter the order in which you do these, but each is a challenge in its own way. So one is going to be fighting undead, one is going to be fighting giant spiders, and one is going to be fighting sort of frost giants. So right now we're back in the graveyard, and we're looking to spawn another challenging fight. Oh, now we just got our first staff. So I'm just kind of showing this off right now. This is Umbra damage. You can tell it's very different from my fire damage. Umbra damage is sort of like void damage, or like a black hole. I guess it's arcane damage is what it would be in Diablo 3. But what's cool is, with the staff, with incremental attacks, there's a different spell effect, and if you chain 3 attacks together, it does the ultimate effect of, in this case, creating the black hole, but every element type of staff has a different effect, and a different visual, and it's very cool. So what I'm trying to do right now is destroy specific graves, in order to anger this, what is his name? Gravedigger. Then there he is, right there. So this was a terrifying beast when I fought him in melee. I just know to keep my distance from all enemies now. Which doesn't always work out as well. There are enemies, I don't think we're gonna see them yet in this playthrough, but look at that attack, look at that! He's hurling undead! He's digging out undead to throw at me. I think the way they walked was a little bit, the AI maybe needed to be a little bit better there, because they walked away from me rather than toward me, but I'm pretty sure as a melee character I died to him. So I just got a new skill there. Rather than sell it, I wanted to keep that one. It's sort of a Frost Nova. It's a crowd control. I just showed that off by applying it right there. Picking up a bit of loot before being done with this quest area. I've got his heart. Again, things are looking really easy here, but the game isn't as easy as we're making it seem. I'm dumping into willpower because so far, as long as nothing's touching me, I'm maxing out my damage. I love playing glass cannons if I can have range. And we're going to be as glass cannon as we can be. until we can no longer be. So you're going to see at some point I'm going to start putting a little bit into toughness. I know in my previous playthrough I held off a lot longer on putting into toughness. Now, I'm being careful here because there's one node that you can pick, and I don't know if I'm going to mouse over it to show you guys just yet here. It's right to the lower left of where I am right now. Hover over it, come on. Master of Elements, that's a really powerful one. I'm building towards that. I hovered over, there we go. Overheating. If you want to pause the video right there, what overheating does is it basically, it can kill you. I didn't read the full description, I applied that skill point, and I kept dying. Because it's an effect that basically, I don't know if I should almost leave it as a surprise for you folks. But read your skill descriptions, read your spell descriptions, your passive node descriptions. It erupts in a big burst of damage, hurts enemies, but it hurts you too. And because I was on a pure glass cannon, I think there might be some interesting build where you can have a lot of life regen and a lot of toughness and do that, but it hurts you as well. And it was killing me. It was killing me. Now, this area here is gorgeous. I love the grass over here. So we're heading right now in the general direction of both the spider cave and the frost giants. I think we're going to head first to the spider caves. But the physics on the grass, this is the CryEngine fully at play. The illumination as well. The physics, but even the illumination as a fireball soars through. The fire around me right now, that's, I believe it's called Ardent Stacks. It's sort of an effect that, as you do damage, you see it set that zombie on fire. Think of Diablo 3, the monk skill, not Cyclone Strike, but the one that puts the vortex around you. It's similar to that. It's similar to that, except on a spellcaster, and elemental, obviously. So now we got the Enchanter Staff of Fire. I think did I equip it? I don't think I equipped it. We're gonna change staff at some point. All those whiffs, man. So now we're starting to get to these sort of spidery enemies. I don't know if spider is even the right term. They're kind of a mixture of a scorpion and a spider. But we're looking for the unspoiled egg. Find the lair of the Pythuses and the hailstone fields. Of course, there's lots of webbing, so we make the connection to spiders. And off we're going. So far there's a lot of similarities to Diablo 3 Act 1. You had the undead, the graveyard, now you got the spider cave, got another Staff of Fire. Again, I'm comparing it, it's not an upgrade enough for me to switch to. So we're not quite going there. Also, we're already on fire damage, but I suppose synergistically I would ideally want to have a staff that also does fire damage, because I'm building towards buffing my fire damage. So now we got a new spell, Conflagration. For the longest time I've pronounced this word conflagration, or conflagrate. I've only realized in the last few months that it's conflagrate and conflagration. But it's a burning cans, if you're familiar with Dungeons & Dragons. Or in Diablo 2, I believe it was called Inferno. It is a channeled fire burst. You're stationary, fire comes out of you, and it's relatively short-ranged. Got a cloak. I love that we have capes that we can wear in this game. Right now we're comparing belts. I'm probably going to end up going for that one. And we're going to apply some skill points. I'm trying to get, right now, to that plus elemental damage node. The bigger nodes tend to be, yeah, Master of Elements. That's a huge damage buff, right? That's where I'm building towards. And the next thing I'm going to be making a beeline over to the left to unlock another special power. Still dumping straight into willpower. Pure glass. It's the way I like to play. But you definitely can play it as a melee type. I don't know if the game is necessarily unbalanced right now in favor of spellcasters. This door never opened. At least I can never get it to open. I don't know if it's a bug, I don't know if it's not meant to open yet, I don't know if it's just supposed to be visual. Maybe in a later alpha, in a later beta, it's going to open, I don't know. Right now I'm kind of wishing that I would rotate the camera, because I'm going downward, right? So if I were to rotate the camera, I could have a better angle, I could see further down, but just for purposes of not confusing myself, I'm not doing that. Had some willpower on that. I don't know that I swapped to it though. Right, it was not magic. So there you go. Fire chains, right? Now these guys are scaring me. These guys have a fire aura as well, I believe. I'm starting to take some damage here. Possibly for the first time. Yeah, that was the first time that I got a little bit scared. He was keeping up with me. I was out of stamina. Tome of Thunderbolt. That one we're gonna sell. We are not a lightning mage. So that was the first time I started to sweat a bit, because he was keeping pace with me and he had a damaging aura that was slowly melting away my health. Even there, you can see I'm taking damage right there. I just went below 50% health and I popped my potion. So, the way potions work in this game, a potion has a number of charges, and it replenishes one charge per X amount of time. I think it's about 30 seconds by default. And as you level up, you unlock additional potion slots to a maximum of 5, as you can see down there. Right now I have 2 potion slots, but I've only found 1 potion so far. I believe I can purchase potions, but I don't have a lot of money right now. So, another thing that I'll mention is the game stability has greatly improved. In my last video on Wolcen, I said that my biggest criticism was how unstable the game was, how often it would crash for me. There was a point when I could not get through this map without a crash. Or it took me several repeated attempts, which was very frustrating because it's a very long map. It takes quite a while to get to the end. And so before I can reach the end, it would crash, and I'd have to start over. It starts you at the... You know, you don't resume game in the middle, or at least with a crash, you don't resume game in the middle of the map. You have to start from the beginning. But I gotta say, in my playthrough here, I didn't have a single crash. I played for about, I want to say 45 minutes-ish. Fun fact that I just learned about scorpions. Scorpions don't actually have tails. It's just their abdomen basically thins out into the part that we call the tail. So they're flexing their abdomen when they're waving their tail thing around. The butthole of a scorpion is right beneath its stinger. The more you know. Fun facts with Rhykker. It's a very fun fact to know where the anus of a scorpion was. Second health potion, bam, beautiful. Now, if you notice on that mouse over, the potion that I just found is a regular potion with no additional power, but the first potion I got had some blue item affixes on it. What those were, basically the idea is that also chests are a great source of loot in this game. So it's mostly just blue loot, but, with what I have, beggars can't be choosers. I'll take blue items. I'll definitely take blue items. Stash is getting a little full here. Got a ring. We don't have any other rings, so we're equipping that. What were we saying about the potions? Yeah, so potions can drop as magic. They can have different magic properties on them. Path of Exile has this as well. Probably more fleshed out as well. I think it's a great system. But, so, with Path of Exile, in order to replenish your potion stacks, you gotta kill monsters. Whereas, in this game, it's just a time reset. I'm not certain which is the better system. So right now, I'm going for Elemental Storm. That is the power I'm going for right now. Elemental Storm creates a storm area each time you something. Basically, you're gonna start seeing pools of elemental damage types on the floor. And from there, I'm actually gonna start boosting my elemental storms just a little bit up and to the left there. As you can see, a lot of nodes haven't been implemented yet. No, a little higher, a little higher. There we go. So, basically, fully upgrade it, which is what we're gonna, I think, almost be able to accomplish before the end of this session here. What we're striving to achieve is... Now they're going to start appearing... There we go. So right there, did you see that circle? There's circles appearing on the floor. These are my elemental damage storms, right? I'm pretty sure. And basically these are areas that as I'm going to upgrade them, think sort of as the wizard's slow time bubble. The Delzir Magnum Opus wizard slow time bubble. Different type of effects. Just, they don't slow time. I'm making the analogy because the different runes apply different effects. All I mean to say really is that these are going to be areas that are going to provide buffs. Buffs to myself, nerfs to enemies, or something along those lines. And here we go, we're now reaching the final area. Once again, on my first character, this was quite a challenge. Even on my second playthrough, I was getting overwhelmed by the number of enemies. As you can see, we're zooming out a bit here. It's kind of like the Belial fight, right? But enemies are gonna start piling up. But what we were saying before about the potion, so Path of Exile. I'm not sure which is the better system. I know that I found it annoying that to get your potion stacks back, you need to kill enemies. However, it prevents you from cheesing the system in that, oh, my potions are all consumed, I'm just gonna, like, run around until I get my charges back, or port back to town, wait to get my charges back. I think Diablo 2's potion system, I hate it. I never want to go back to that. In Diablo 2, you'd be fighting a boss, so I was actually surprised here at how quickly I got through these guys. It took me a lot longer in previous attempts. Diablo 2, what do? You're fighting Duriel, or whoever you're fighting. If you go through all your potions, you port back to town, you buy new potions, you go back, you fight, you port back to town. It's just constant town portaling, getting potions, town portal, or at least if you need to, you can cheese the system that way, and it was not a fun way to play the game. So, I think every potion system from D3, Path of Exile, and Wolcen are all improvements on Diablo 2's system. I think Wolcen and Path of Exile have the superior potion system to Diablo 3. I know that so far, I find Wolcen's potion system more fun than Path of Exile's in that the potions replenish on their own, rather than needing to kill enemies. Because what happens is you get to a boss fight, right? And then you blow your potions, and if there's no adds to the boss, which in the case of Wolcen that happens. I don't know if maybe in Path of Exile you're never in an instance where you don't have adds to replenish your potions, but it just sucks to be out of potion, out of options. At least in Wolcen, you can run around a bit, wait for your potion charge to come back, which I don't even call cheesing the system. So there we go, we've unlocked the new rune. The options were either make Fireball cost less resource, or launch an additional Fireball. I definitely want to go with the additional Fireball. As you can see, I miss a lot, so having 2 Fireballs makes it easier to hit. Actually, it might be a little bit more difficult to hit, because at least where you click with 1 Fireball is where the Fireball goes. With 2 Fireballs, I think it spreads out, so you gotta be a little bit more planned in your aiming. But what the 2 Fireballs definitely is better for is if you round up packs of enemies, it's better at taking out packs of enemies. So I know the next time, in my previous playthrough, I had the option at some later point of getting an additional Fireball or something else. At some point, I stopped getting the additional Fireballs. Because at some point I felt, okay, I'm kind of getting diminishing returns. Most of the time, I'm not hitting with all of my Fireballs. But I like that you have the option, and I can't wait to see what other runes they unlock, because the devs add, rather. I feel that we're gonna get runes every 5 levels. But yeah, just to finish off with that potion discussion, if I didn't finish discussing it, did I? Attention span of a moth. Alright, so what I'm doing right here is actually, I've got a socket in this cloak. As you can see, the socket was for a support gem. So there are different types of gems that can go into different types of sockets. So I'm looking at the gems that I have, and I'm weighing, okay, which of these buffs do I want? As you can see down there, I've got some yellow items. I didn't equip those right away, because I didn't want to just blitz through everything too easily. I wanted to blitz, but legitly. I kind of wanted to see, I wanted to show that, I can go at a pretty fast pace, but without, making use of gear that was a hand-me-down. So now I'm realizing, oh no, the item is too low level for the gem. So now I gotta look for a worse gem that I could include, that I can put into my gear here. So I think I'm just gonna end up going with this fire gem. I'm not too clear on the benefit of it, but now we're gonna go back to do the 3rd quest. So we got the egg. Now we gotta go get the final thing, which is gather Arctic roots in the Hailstone Bay. I was gonna say bag. That doesn't sound right. So you can see those storms being laid down, right? That was a nice little, the Umbra, right? That's using the base staff. Now I'm forgetting which way I went. As you can see, I'm going slower through the water. I was looking at the map, I got a little confused, I thought I can get through there, but you can't, so don't go that way. Unless you want to get the chest, but as you can see, it wasn't loaded with rewards. Now, that enemy right there is a little interesting. You got your different types of zombies, you got your running zombies, you got your buffed zombies. Some of the zombies lift, others don't. Hit that rock. Get your flaming zombies. Medium health potion. Get that medium health potion. Oh, you better get that medium health potion. I got a stamina potion as well, which I'm probably going to remember right now, and I'm going to start using. But every use of the stamina potion replenishes 1 bubble of stamina. As you can tell, it's getting... so on my map, you see that little red skull, right? The tree's on fire. I got impressed at setting the tree on fire. So the red skull enemies are kind of your champion packs, or elite packs, is what I'm gathering. Again, I'm playing this game, keeping my distance, so with the way the enemies are right now, that's kind of working, but as we get deeper into the game, there are going to be enemies that are going to charge at me, that are going to shoot me, and this playstyle isn't going to be as easy. I'm not going to be able to just avoid all damage constantly. Got that gatekeeper there. Remember that gatekeeper that we fought first as... That was like our... Well, not our first mini-boss, but... That little, you know, dungeon boss guy. Now he's just a regular enemy. I love that that level-up explosion. The physics in the grass. Very nice. Okay, Apprentice Gown. That's an auto-equip. Now I'm going to want to put my skill points, so I'm just clearing out the area a bit so that I don't get tackled by enemies. Again, maxing out that willpower. The good thing is that willpower also gives us health regeneration, so... And again, now we're going to buff up the rest of our storms here. And that's going to be the final buff that we apply to our storm right now, before we go tackle the final quest. Oh, I love that! The double hit! Landed that one, alright. So, as you can see on the right there, I could have gone back after every quest to turn in the quest, but what I'm trying to do here is first do all 3, and then turn in all 3 at the same time. It's just a bit more time efficient. And that was 2 whiffs. You saw the double hit, now you saw the double miss. Very impressive. So we're going up here, we're getting ready to enter the realm of Conan the Barbarian. Hyboria, that's what it's called, right? The Frozen Lands. The atmosphere starts to change. Not quite yet. We're getting there. We're getting there. A little higher. Things are getting colder. Still blasting some zombies. Starting to get some snow-tipped, or ice, or frost-tipped vegetation here. Look at my mana potion. Stamina, rather, potion. Just to confirm what we've got there. Just constant, not enough stamina. And now we've got our frost enemies. So now we've got frost zombies, we've got frost spiders, and there's going to be frost giants that we're going to fight. And again, the frost giants, as a melee character, I died to those frost giants. Again, I'm making this game look easy, but... Alright, we're gonna get the waypoint, and then over to the left, you can see, I think that's gonna be one of the frost giants, the red skull. The little, plants on the minimap, yeah, there's the ice crusher there. We killed him a bit too fast, but, that guy gets close to you. Watch out. So now we got our Staff of Lightning, and I'm gonna switch to this because it is a damage upgrade. Not that I'm gonna use it a whole lot, but as you can see there, that's the effect with the Staff of Lightning. It's pretty cool. So there's these sort of slow frost bubbles that tend to be around these plants. So I'm going to be doing my best to get through those frost bubbles as quickly as possible. You know, like dodge in, grab the plant, dodge out. We gotta collect 5 of these in total. They damage you a bit. It's not, you know, a terrible amount of damage, but you wouldn't want to run into one of those while monsters are chasing you, for instance. Well, I mean, you might. I'm not your boss. So... freezing undead, okay. And grab the 3rd here. And at this point, we're kind of winding down. Once we've collected all 5 of these, we're going to be turning in the quests, and that's where we're going to actually end today's play session. But as you can see, there's another Ice Crusher right there. Because I've just been blasting and blasting my willpower, I do so much damage that things generally don't have time to get to me before I can kill them. But that's going to change as we get further into the game towards faster monsters. I don't know how things work at high level, but again, my experience was from going from a melee character to a spellcaster, I'm like, oh, wizards are easy mode in this game. Alright, come on, get, what, 1? No, we got all 5, okay. So at this point, I should just port out, I guess. Or I might go back down to the waypoint. And I don't realize I'm walking into the water right now. Look at your minimap. There you go. Go back up and around. And, don't want to be dodging into that. We're going to be going back to turn in the quest. The heart, the roots, the egg. So she is an alchemist, is what I've gathered, not a ranger. She looks like an elven ranger, but she's actually a human alchemist. So, just goes to show you can't judge a book by its cover. It's another small potion. I'm holding on to that just for when I unlock my additional potion slot. I'm going to take that waypoint there. So I'm going to hop back up to her. And turn in that quest. I think the last thing we're going to show actually is just going logging out back to the splash screen just to show what our character looks like. But that's basically Wolcen. If you guys would like to see more gameplay, if you'd like to see us progress through this, through what quests are available, we can do more of these. But I just wanted to give you a glimpse of a little bit more gameplay. I know that we're basically just focused on the one skill, the fireball, but you can play this game in a lot of different ways. The 3 main ways, again, are sort of thief, you know, either sneaky, spellcaster, or tanky. There's a lot more nuance to it than that, as you can see from the skill webs. But it's just some Wolcen gameplay right there. Kind of to see with the most up-to-date build, the most up-to-date UI, and skills and effects. The loading screens are a little long, but it's to be expected. The game's not optimized yet. And that's what we look like on the splash screen here. Neat little kind of steampunk staff there. Kind of cool. The spinning gear. It's not connected to anything else, as far as I can tell. But there you have it, folks. That's Wolcen. So that's going to wrap up this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts. What do you think of Wolcen? Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch and Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. If you like what you see on this channel and want to support the creation of more content, you can pledge on Patreon, where your support is immensely appreciated. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykkers Raiders for more gaming content.